Hi, everyone. Welcome. I think we're going to get started. Folks are still joining in, but that's okay. Um, Welcome. I'm in Los Angeles in glorious Sunday afternoon weather at Fariel's house, one of our chefs. I'm really glad you could join us. And so I want to say a couple of thank yous at the beginning, and then I'll tell you what you're in for in this hour plus. Um, so first of all, I want to thank all of our chefs. We've been meeting for months, and everyone has been working really hard, especially the artists and designers who've been supporting this project, this incarnation. Kiana Tusi and Ashley Leon have been doing a lot of design of assets. Also, this version of the Silk Road, we have an ingredients box that we collaborated with Narrative Food on, which, oh my God, you guys, before I tell you how far out of the freaking ballpark they hit it with this ingredients box, I'll just quickly go over who we are. We're a group of women in food in Los Angeles with all international heritage, and we're kind of a rotating cast of characters. So for different incarnations, people step up, step back, depending on what they have on their plates. You're about to learn that this is a completely incredible group of women, super talented and busy. So, you know, we step up, we step back, and actually this whole team, designers, the ingredient sorceresses, the chefs, women top to bottom. So, all right, isn't it Women's Month or something? I don't know. I'm Lena. So back to Narrative Foods, I want to quickly thank them especially because this version of the Silk Road, we had an ingredients box that you could order, and then you received our gorgeous recipe packet, Kiana and Ashley, all the way like this with your food box, and also our botanical printing kit so you can make art out of your food scraps. And then you got this box of stuff, you guys, from Narrative. I mean, they had the sausage for Cecilia's dish specially made. They had this is Electric City Butchers, and they actually made the sausage for Cecilia's Chinese glutinous rice special for this box. So if you got this box, it's like beyond. They sourced the mushrooms for that dish as well. There are green onions, which you'll see illustrated in our recipe booklet. There are shallots and onions, which are for my dolma recipe. These are sustainably raised eggs. These are all regenerative farms. Coda rice, which you're about to meet. Coda rice. You have two different kinds of Coda rice if you ordered the box. Okay, I could probably cavil about the box all day long. This is fresh OJ. Can you see that golden? Oh my God, very exciting. So those are the important thanks, and what you're in for the rest of this 90 minutes. Please, we love interaction. Put lots of stuff in the chat. We're blessed to have a chatress, the maven of the chats, our Vanna White of chatting, Massa Gulabi, who's one of our, there she is, from Atlanta via the power of the Zoom. She is the Vanna White of the chat, so she's helping us out, and we're very grateful. Put in their questions, comments. We want to hear where you're coming from, if you've made recipes like this, if you've made our recipes. So that's the overview. We're going to do a couple of things up front. We're going to talk to Robin Coda Rice. So exciting. We're going to hear from Puya Maj, who is our chef Burial's nephew. He's going to play some music in just a moment, and then you're going to get to hear from all of the chefs, and also hopefully we'll get to hear from you in there too. So that's our 90 minutes. Leave your camera on or off. It's the Zoom. It's a beautiful Sunday. Puya, welcome.
Hallelujah. How are you?
You are okay. I'm wonderful. It's a blessing to meet you over Zoom.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. It's really special. Drumming is really close to my heart. And correct me if I'm wrong, you are a professional percussionist and you specialize in traditional Persian music, right?
You're right. For
Do you want to
long,
say anything else about your musical practice?
no, I mean, this instrument was a long time ago in the Persian Empire. So you guys here, you guys more understand about the instrument, maybe.
Amazing. Well, that's it. We'd love to hear
You guys
from you. It's
ready?
your turn. You're up. You're up.
All right.
Are you hearing sound, Ferial? You know what? I wonder if you're too close to the mic. Maybe it's blowing out the mic. Could that be happening?
Exactly. Actually, I tried
Okay.
because the bass, the problem is the bass. So
Your computer can't handle the power of the
it's
dash.
big time power, yeah. So I don't know
It's
how
a
can
powerful
my
instrument.
laptop handle that sound. You know, that's the problem. So
Can't handle
let's
it.
see.
Yeah,
I
step
go
back.
further. Yeah, try this.
Better.
More space. You need more space. You need more
Sorry.
space, Puya. You're blowing
Yeah,
it
you
out.
need to really get away from the computer.
Okay, so I go.
This is amazing. This is a real testament to the power of percussion.
Yeah, this one is big time power. So
This is why I
let's
love
see.
it. It's
Maybe
like
that part is
lifeblood.
fine. Just let me know. Tell me I don't hear you guys. Just show me your hands or something. So
We'll keep coaching ya.
Okay, perfect.
I'm not hearing it. Ferial, you know what? Maybe we should I could go to Robin and maybe Puya can kind of experiment a little bit. Do you have another suggestion?
Let's
Any
do that.
sound mavens on this call? Okay, Robin, we'll go to you in just 1 second. I just wanted to call out that I happened to notice that Jennifer from Narrative Food is putting in the chat a little bit more information about what came in these boxes this week. Robin Coda, thank you so much for being here today. Puya, I think, why don't you give Ferio a call and the two of you can talk about maybe a solution. Thank you for being here, Robin. We're really grateful to have you. Robin is the co-owner of Coda Farms, which is culturally just a very vital grain farm in the state, period, growing heirloom rice. And I believe you're third generation. Do I have that right?
That's right, Lena. My grandfather immigrated.
Welcome. Tell us about what you do.
Am I muted still? Am I?
We can hear you perfectly.
Okay, so yeah, my grandfather immigrated to California from Japan back in 1908, and my brother and I are third generation farming. So that's about a century under our belt. I always joke that we're great at growing rice and lousy at procreation, but we are third generation farming now. So we are in the Central Valley of California. Central Valley of California is broken into two regions, essentially, the Sacramento Valley and the San Joaquin Valley. Rice has been grown in California since the 1800s, if you didn't know, primarily short grain and medium grain, and historically for the Chinese rail workers. So that's a little bit of the history of rice growing in California in a little nutshell. And to this day, Japanese style rice, japonica, which covers all the starchy types of rice, very short to medium grain rice, are still the predominant types of rice grown in California, as opposed to say like Texas and Arkansas, which are major long grain rice producers. But that is rice, generally speaking, California. So my brother and I co-manage and are co-owners of our family farm, and we are the southernmost rice farm in California. We are vertically integrated and we farm japonica, so super short grain rice, which is the starchy mochi rice or short grain or sweet rice that Cecilia used in her Cantonese fried rice. And it's also something that you're familiar with for the butter mochi and all the mochi recipes. And then also in that great narrative box you got today, you have our medium grain, whole grain brown rice. And that is, again, a japonica type of rice. It's a medium grain, and it's known by our trademark name, which is Cocoa Rose. And that is a proprietary strain of rice that we actually developed here on our farm after the internment in the 1950s. So over a 10-year period, that rice was developed through traditional breeding methods and was introduced to the domestic market in the early 60s. So it's a medium grain rice, and rice, like everything else, is sort of trendy. You have different types of rice that come in and out of fashion. And for instance, medium grain rice right now is not something that you would find typically in Japan. The Japanese in Japan strongly favor short grain rice, which is sort of confusing because sweet rice is also known as short grain rice. But the medium grain rice that we grow is Cocoa Rose, and we've essentially stuck with that strain of rice. It's something that we hold near and dear to our heart. We find that it's very flavorful. Of course, that's all subjective, but to us, it's very flavorful. And now, by today's standards, it's a very impractical strain of rice to farm because it's very tall in stature and it's low yielding. So if you were to compare our rice to, say, anything that you'd find being grown in California today, like something like a medium grain or Japanese style rice grown by, say, by Lumberg, our rice is literally yielding about a third less than those modern strains of rice. When I talk about rice being tall in stature, that is a characteristic of rice that is not in vogue with anybody who's growing rice on a more of an industrial scale, because the taller your rice plant is, the more likely it is to flop over when it's maturing. And when your rice flops over, your harvesting method becomes very challenging because combines, right, grain combines, which are very similar to what's used for all grains, you have a different cutting head on the front of your combine. That combine has to cut and thresh that rice, and picking it up when your grain is laying flat on the ground is a lot more challenging. So our Cocoa Rose is our pet project. It is a strain that we grow the seeds for ourselves in our own seed nursery on site at our farm to this day. The brown rice is used in a lot of restaurants in LA, everybody from, I guess, Squirrel to, there's M Cafe there. We used to be at Justa and Mountain, and Baru uses our rice. So we have a lot of great chefs who have, happily given us an endorsement. I hope that you can use that rice in your kits for something satisfying. If not, give it to the birds.
Okay, beautiful. I have a feeling that everyone will find some sort of use for rice, which is part of the reason why we're hosting this program, because rice is one of those staple crops that people around the world have traditions with that go back many years, hundreds and thousands of years. Robin, does your family have a favorite rice dish? Is that like choosing from your children? Is there something that is dear to your family's heart in particular?
Well, since rice is used well, it shows up a lot here in our menu, we do have a preference for what is referred to as shinmai, and that's sort of traditional with all Japanese nationals and Japanese Americans. And shinmai refers to your newly harvested fall crop of rice because your rice at the fall harvest is going to have a higher moisture content. It's more, for us, our strain rice is more fragrant, more floral at that time than any other time of the year, because your rice, as it's held in storage over the year, it loses a lot of those nuances. So for us, Chinmay in the fall is something that we really look forward to. And that is simply steamed plain rice. So it is the most minimalist presentation you can imagine, but for us, it's a sort of, it's what we look forward to every fall. Otherwise, I would say that another thing that I make personally is something called osekihan, which is using our short grain sweet rice, the mochi rice. And that is a traditional Japanese dish. You'll see it more often at celebratory sort of events. It uses Japanese adzuki beans, which are red in color, and you soak and pre-boil those, and you add it to your rice as it's cooking, and it will tint the rice very prettily. It'll be kind of a pink. That is then served with sesame seeds and salt. So it's sort of a savory, that's more of a savory dish.
Amazing.
yeah.
And how perfect that the farmer just wants it unadorned, naked to the world, so that you can smell and appreciate and love the grain that you guys have raised. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for being here.
Thank
What
you,
a treat.
everybody. Thanks for your interest.
Okay, question. I saw a few people saying that they love Coda rice. Has anyone tried their hand at any of the dishes that were in the recipe booklet? Has anyone tried them yet? If not, does anyone in the group have a favorite rice dish from their family heritage? Yes, someone's asking about the recipe booklet. Absolutely. We produced a beautiful recipe booklet that has recipes from all 7 chefs, different regions of the world. And it has gorgeous illustrations. It is free for the loving on. If you email me, maybe the chat Vanna White Massa would be willing to put my email address in the chat. Then I will reply and send you the PDF. Someone said that they do love to use Coda rice. Who is that? Francis Gill. Would you like to tell us what kind of dishes you make with the Coda rice? Massa, do you want to tell us what you make?
Sorry.
Tell us what, that's okay. I surprised you. You tell us what you make, and then maybe if Francis wants to share also. We have a video, because we're so fast and awesome at virtual. Puya made a video of his drumming, so I'm gonna open that while you tell us what you make.
Well, I'm not going to tell too much about Persian rice because honestly, I'm not that good at it. I have practiced, but Persian rice is really, it's a challenge. And, you'll hear more about it in just a minute, but I love Persian rice. I'm a little bit biased. I think it's the best, but I think everybody thinks that the rice that brings them the most warmth and reminds them of home is really the best. So I love Persian rice.
Francis, do you want to share with us?
Is the best. Sorry. I almost forgot about catching. That was like one of the best. I love that.
What's the best? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's called touching, but I feel like Patty's
Mm.
probably better about explaining these things than me.
Carissa is going to show us her favorite. Okay, the video hasn't come through yet. So in fact, does anyone else want to share? Oh, someone is asking, can you buy Coda rice online? You absolutely can. Robin, where's the best place to get it? It's also what Coda rice is pretty widely available. Maybe you can tell folks where to find it.
Well, I'm going to contradict you right off the bat. Right now, it isn't that widely available online. You'd be stuck with 2 people that we supply to directly, and that is Well Spent Market up in Portland and Housework, which is online. And I'll link them to to the Instagram post for this session after we get offline here. And the reason why I'm suggesting these two particular vendors is that if you find it, say, like at Amazon, that's a warning sign. Amazon is not a preferred vendor. We do not sell them to them directly, and I have no idea where these third parties are getting the rice. And I have seen things as nerve-wracking as obsolete packaging. So just FYI, if you do need to go online, Well-Spent Market and Housework are our two preferred dealers because we actually supply them directly. So the rice is going directly to them, not through a third person. That we don't have any idea of how the rice is being treated or stored. Locally down in Southern California, you can find our rice at the Japanese chain markets, Tokyo Central, Marukai, Mitsuwa Market. But just be forewarned, those people, their markup is pretty crazy, and we here at the farm don't have any say over that, and I apologize for that.
That's helpful insider information. So when I say it's widely available, it can't necessarily all be vouched for. I see it often.
Well, we should ask you where to buy this.
Well, some of the places you're mentioning, but Ferial was mentioning that Squirrel carries it, and Gian did say at the Nigia market on Sawtell. Yeah, there are a couple of, I think you mentioned that one. There are a few
Yeah, you're right.
places.
I'm sorry. M Cafe on Melrose at La Brea. They are a macrobiotic restaurant cafe. They will stock our 5-pound bags. Cookbook Market used to be a favorite venue for us, but since they've switched ownership, things are a little bit funky. So hopefully they will eventually get it back in stock, but no promises there.
Great. And then of course, narrative. So we aren't ready for the video yet. It's like moving its little way through the fiber optic cables a little bit slower than we would like. Parisa Parnian. Oh, someone had said, hey, in San Francisco, you can get Coda Rice at Rainbow Co-op. Yeah, Rainbow's awesome. Parisa Parnian. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first chef, and maybe we can get this. We're just waiting for the video to travel through space and time. Parisa Parnian is our first chef. She is a Persian Angelina. She is colorful as all get out, as Ashley, our illustrator, mentioned. Like, Parisa herself is colorful and a vibrant human. She's an artist, a designer, a food maker, curator, the host of brilliant parties. She's one of my more favorite people. She's the kind of person you'll want to be at a party at when the parties come back. And today she is talking about the recipe in our booklet. It's garden tada dig. Normally called tadig, unless it's this special tada dig. Take it away, Parisa. Tell us all about it. You're muted, darling.
Hello, can you hear me now? Can everyone see me? Yes? Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay, great. Hello, everybody. Lena, thank you so much for that, fabulous introduction. And Robin, I haven't met you in person yet, but I already have like a big crush on your brain and the amazing things you're doing with rice. And I love that you're a third generation family here doing such beautiful work with rice. I'm an immigrant myself. I was born in Tehran, Iran, and my mother comes from the rice region in northern Iran. She comes from the Shomal area and close to the Caspian Sea. And the northern part of Iran is really known for a lot of their rice dishes, although of course, all of Iran is known for their fabulous rice dishes. And we are known for our long grain rices, right? And here in the US, basmati rice is what we use to create our Persian dishes. And So tahdig, which Lena mentioned, is, you know, it's for those of you who've had it, you know, or you've cooked it, or you come from Iran, you know, it's basically a really special technique you can use to cook your rice so that the crust of the rice gets crunchy. And you can get really creative with it. It doesn't have to just be rice, you know. So over time, you know, because I'm a visual artist and I love to make things a little bit quirky, I thought how fun. I was inspired by, I'm sure a lot of you've seen the focaccia art, where the focaccia bread, where it has like garden art on it using vegetables and herbs. Well, I thought to myself, well, if you can make that on focaccia bread, why can't you make that on tahdig? And so that's how I came up with the tahdig garden art that we're gonna do today. I just want to make sure everything's good. Everyone can see me. It's all great. Okay. All right. So I'm going to switch my camera over so you can see. First of all, I already made one to show you guys, and then I'll show you the step-by-step process. Just a little note for those of you who are going to try to follow the recipe, or for those of you who've tried to make tahdig. Okay. Tahdig is like life. Okay. You can be prepared, you can get all the right ingredients, you can follow the steps, but there's always an element of the unknown, right? And so at some point, you just have to trust, and you have to be okay if the results are not perfect. It's just like, right, it's life, you know, like tahdig is a symbol for me of life. So I made one of my garden art tahdigs right before this started, and I think it turned out great, but is it perfect? No. And it's been a real process for me, and probably for a lot of people who cook tahdig, to just accept the fact that sometimes it's going to look perfect and sometimes there's going to be, like, you know, imperfections, and you just have to embrace it and celebrate it. So let's start by taking a look at the tahdig I actually created, and then we'll go through the steps. Okay, you ready? Let's do this. All right, how do I switch the camera to the other side? Wait.
Technology. It's that little
Oh,
flippy
here, okay,
icon. It's got the little. Ooh.
Okay. So I
Gorgeous.
created this tahdig, and I gotta say it turned out pretty good. The thing with tahdig is you can't really control the, you know, like you can't control how much something burns or not. This one, the crust looks amazing. And I kind of wish that some of the stems had stayed a little greener, but you know, it's really, you know, it's just chance, it's life. You just got to do it. But this is a freaking gorgeous tahdig, and I'm really happy with it. We're going to show you how to make this. Okay. So in the recipe, what I suggested was you take some different vegetables and herbs that you can get your hands on that kind of represent what a garden, floral garden would look like, right? What I found, because I'm lucky enough, I live in LA and we have a garden in the back. We have an herb garden. So for stalks, I'm using chives. There's even some baby kale leaves I could use. I love using things like cilantro because, I mean, they already look kind of like leaves of a plant, right? I mean, what am I saying? They are leaves of a plant.
Yeah.
And then for flowers, you can take those like little baby, those sweet peppers that you can get at places all over, and just slice them up, and they look like little flowers. See, I got like red ones, yellow ones, orange ones. You can take radishes and cut them up. You can take onion rings, you know. I had some carrots, so I cut up some carrots, and you know, I love garlic, so I took a bunch of garlic and made them kind of into some fun shapes. So the first step is to just prep some vegetables and herbs and be creative and try things, you know. In the recipes I mentioned, you could use purple potatoes or just regular potatoes. You can use beets. You can use all sorts of things to just have fun. The whole point of this is to get creative and loosen up and just have fun. It's color, it's texture, it's good. The next step is to compose something for yourself, okay? I like to get some parchment paper, but it doesn't have to be parchment paper. It can be whatever. And then what I do is I'll take whatever pan I'm using. I just recently got the Always pan, and I'm freaking out because it's so pretty and it actually makes really good tahdig. But what I do is I put the pan down on a piece of paper, and then trace over it, right? So you have a sense of the circumference you're working with. So if you'll see, I did a little circular line so that when I create my composition, I know what space I have to work with, okay? And so I just went to town, you know, I took some of the chive leaves and made stalks. I used the cilantro to make like leafy things. I put the sliced peppers down to create little flowers. I had fun with the radishes, doing just fun little things. And I created a composition. And so that's all fun and games, right? But like, how do you make tahdig? Like, that's the real question, right? Let's get to the rice. Okay, so this is the rice I've created that's going to create the crust on the tahdig. And in the recipe, I talked about it. You basically cook, for this tahdig, I took 2 cups of dried basmati rice and cooked it, right? Parboiled it. And then I took a portion of the parboiled rice and I mixed it with some saffron water, which is basically ground saffron that you put in hot water, and it creates like some saffron water. And I put saffron water and a little bit of yogurt in here. The yogurt helps bind it. And I mixed it all together to create like kind of like a sticky rice, right? It's sticky, but it's not wet. You don't want your rice to be too wet because then it won't get crunchy, right? So it's just got like this nice tactileness to it. And I mean, come on, look at that saffron. Look at how that saffron is creating such gorgeous yellowness. It's like incredible, right? So this is where the fun begins, right? We're gonna take, I'm gonna move this to the side. I'm gonna take this pre-created art that you make on here, and you're gonna get your pan or your pot. It's really important that your pot is non-stick in order for this to really work, you know. And then you're gonna just put some oil in it. I just want to do a sound check. Can everyone see me still? And is everything good? Yeah.
You're rocking the world, Parisa, pretty much.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah.
So just make
Folks
sure.
are putting a lot of laudatory comments in the chat.
Okay, great. Okay, so you want to make sure to properly oil the bottom of your nonstick pot. I could probably put more oil, but you know, this is just a demo. And then because you've created this, you kind of have a roadmap of how you want to transfer it into the pot, right? So I'm probably going to start by putting, by the way, let me know if I'm running out of time. But I'm going to just start by putting these stalks down. This is your
2-minute warning.
Okay, so we'll put these stalks down. And then I think I'm going to put these cilantro pieces down. Isn't this fun, you guys? We can all be doing this at home and kind of wow people with your tahdig art, you know? So
I love it. My whole thing is, you know, really celebrating how plants move between food and art and medicine. So
heck yes, that is.
You're speaking my language, woman.
You and we are all speaking each other's language. Can I just also say that being part of the Silk Road Collective is like such a joy, and that what an amazingly talented group of women. I feel so honored that I'm included in this group, and whoo, man, so much talent is out there. Okay, so basically we can continue to do things, but since we're at the 2-minute mark, you just create your art in here. Then you take the rice that you've already put the saffron water and a little bit of yogurt in just to make it sticky. And let me get myself a little spatula. And then you just start putting the rice in there, right? So here we go. So you just start pressing the rice down. Okay, here's where you want to make sure you don't move it around too much, because then your composition is going to get messed up, right? So press vertically on it. Don't go like this. You know, just press vertically on your rice. Like this.
Hey, Parisa, we're going to have to move to Roxana in a moment, but you did just have a question about what is that pan you're using? Do you want to shout out a brand?
So this is a
The Always
company called their Instagram is Our Place, and this is called the Always Pan. It's really beautiful, and they've come up with something called the Tahdig Trio, which is a ceramic pot that you can put on, that fits on the pan. So when you want to do your flip of your tahdig, you can do it without it spilling all over the place.
Helps have
since-
good tools.
Yeah, and so since we're winding things up, I feel like I gave enough of a demo so people will understand the basics of how to create the tahdig art. And I'm excited to see Roxana's version. And the only other thing I have to say is I'm super excited to announce that as part of my journey in connecting food with art and with community building, I've created a culturally fluid spice blend. And it's culturally fluid because I'm taking two cultures that I really connect with and mixing them up to create a special blend. And I'm really happy to show you all. It's called Persican. It's Persian and Mexican spices that I create like sand art. So when you receive it, it's like an art piece, and then you shake it and blend it yourself. But it has a lot of iconic flavors from both the Persian and Mexican culinary traditions. And it's what I'm excited about and proud about. And it's something I've offered for spring, for Nowruz, and I'm just excited to be part of this food world. So
Amazing,
so much.
Teresa. Your brain is a little bit different, my dear friend. Put the link, and I mean that in the best possible way. Put the link in the chat. You're incredible. Roxana, oh man, it's just the talent bus from here on out, people. We're going from freaking skill to skill to skill. Roxana Julipat. Zooming in, probably from work because she's there a lot because
That's
she
right.
owns the
That's
very
right.
beloved restaurant Friends and Family in Hollywood. She's like the grain whisperer and also the pastry whisperer. So she's like creating these insane pastries, handsomest pastry case in town, lots of whole grain, honoring lots of special varieties grown around the state. She just wrote this insane cookbook that everyone is already loving. I think it's on pre-order. Bon Appetit is like, oh my God, it's our favorite cookbook ever. She's here with us talking about Gallo Pinto. Hello, Roxana.
Hi. Can everybody hear me? Is that a
Extremely well.
yes? Is that a yes? Okay, I'm gonna time
We
myself
can hear
so I
you.
don't
I'll
go
talk back.
crazy with
You're
time. But Nina,
awesome.
feel
Thank
free to
you.
interrupt and jump
Then I don't have
in.
to get the cane out.
Yeah, exactly. So just make sure I'm unmuted, etc. So here's the gist. My name is Roxana Julipat. I run and co-own and operate this bakery in East Hollywood. It's called Friends and Family. We've been here for almost 4 years. In May of this year, and we're still standing after this pretty crazy, challenging year. So, hey, what did I do during the pandemic and even before? Because it actually took a long time. Besides doing the baking thing, I wrote a book called Mother Grains, and it's kind of weird how you see it inverted because I guess that's how physics work. But it's a grain focus on 8 grains that we grow really well here in the U.S. that are important culturally, economically, and even geographically to the regions of the United States. They are also important for agriculture from a sustainability standpoint and of incredible value for food security. Of course, there's a chapter on rice, and I'm really excited about it. In one of these chapters, mostly the majority of the recipes focus on baking. However, I was very proud to make this dish. This dish is called Gallo Pinto. It's 2 words. They mean spotted rooster. And it is spotted because it's a combo of 2 basic ingredients, rice and black beans. Some people make it with other beans like red beans. Robin was just talking about the dish where the atsuki beans taint the rice into a pink color. It's a very, very similar process. You do start by making a sofrito, very, very flavorful with onions and a red bell pepper, a little bit of cilantro, or actually not a little bit, like a lot, a little bit of garlic, generous amounts of olive oil or your favorite oil, and then you saute rice and beans. In this case, so naturally, this is a peasant food, you could call it. It's mostly eaten for breakfast. Those of you who might have traveled to Costa Rica probably have had it. It's a very iconic dish. And it's served with eggs or a little bit of tortillas on the side, or even fried cheese is also very common. You might even find plantains next to it. Very, very Latin American. There's a few versions of it out there also. What I like about this dish is that it's incredibly affordable. It fits the crowd and is very, very nutritious. Costa Rica is known for being a little bit of an exception to many of the problems of the region, right? Like there's quite a remarkable political stability in the country, and there's also a high quality of life, a very large middle class. And a lot of this is attributed to the fact that people have this very effective diet based on rice and beans, which are two very, very nutritious staples, protein, starch. So it is commonly made with refined rice, but since I am into this grain thing, and since I discovered Robin Coda's rice, I've been making it with the roast, which is the rice we use here at the bakery for one of our most popular dishes. It's a macro bowl composed of rice and a lot of veggies. It's great for vegans, and then we serve with the use of vinaigrette. It's also great for vegetarians, but if you want to enjoy it with animal protein, you can add chicken or an egg. So that's the magic of gallo pinto. I hope you guys make it. I mean, this dish could not be easier. It keeps well, it feeds the crowd. Like seriously, I'm dying here because I plated, and here we're having this conversation. I have this plate of food in front of me. It's a very terrific dish. It's super, super flavorful. It's great for beginners. So if you end up using it, making it based on the book from the booklet that is going around, by all means share it. I'm on Instagram at Roxana Julapat. Also, you can come visit here at the bakery. You won't be disappointed. Awesome breads and pastries, and all of it inspired in whole grain baking. And if you get a chance, seek out this awesome cookbook. I say awesome because it's not just mine. A group of 20 women or more worked on it. So Mother Grains has a lot of mothers. Yeah, and I really, I'm super excited about rice. I'm so excited to be here talking about rice. So that was exactly 5 minutes on the dot. Back to you, Lena.
Dang, Roxana, she's nothing but not a meticulous baker, I tell you what. Thank you for being here. It's a joy to work with you. I really appreciate it. And yes, Jennifer in the private chat is calling me Glinda the Good Witch, which is funny because when they dropped off my provisions box this morning, I was in a green face beauty mask and they called me the Wicked Witch. So I've switched sides. Komal Savaria, we are just blessed as punch to have you here. Hello, zooming in from her kitchen. Komal is like, she's one of these women with so many talents that I just can't, I don't have enough fingers to count your talents, my friend. I met her through Leah Choi, another one of our Silk Road women, mainly probably because she's a very respected pastry chef in Los Angeles, highly trained in traditional Indian, different kinds of food and cooking in India, not only pastry. Then the more I get to know her, she's like, she studied art, she studied textile dyes and natural dyes, and is the inspiration for the turmeric dye kit that we created to go with our Silk Road packet. You can have that too. If you want that too, if you ask for the recipes, I'll send you the turmeric kit too, or the instructions. Okay, I'm done talking. You, Kamal. Ding.
All right. Hey guys. Can everybody hear me fine? Yes.
You sound great. You sound very good. Yeah.
Thank you for the fabulous introduction, Lena. Amazing as always. And Hi, everybody. I'm very excited to be part of this group and all the wonderful chefs. And the recipe I'm gonna demonstrate today is a lemon rice recipe, very close to my heart, very humble recipe, very simple recipe with little ingredients. So I want to talk more about the ingredients first, and then we go on to the cooking part, because the cooking will literally take like a couple minutes. So let's talk about the rice first. So lemon rice is essentially cooked rice. This is basmati rice. It can be long rice, short rice, medium grain, al dente, overcooked. If you see my rice, these are little overcooked. Any kind of rice works just fine for this recipe. Brown rice, I would really recommend trying the Kota brown rice. It would taste fabulous. These are all our ingredients. I'm gonna start with mustard. We heat a little oil and we start with mustard. Mustard is something that needs to be added to lukewarm to warm oil. You want your mustard to crackle. That's how you get all the powerhouse of magnesium out of there. Then we have these two
Wow, look at those
ingredients.
colors.
Beautiful, right?
Incredible.
That's chana dal, and this is urad dal. This adds a good crunch and texture along with some nuts. I have cashews today, but peanuts are usually most commonly used. These grains and nuts, again, has to be very lightly roasted. You don't want them to get brown very fast. It would be pretty stone hard from the center. So you want to make sure you cook them lightly. Roast them, it adds great nutty flavor. Then we have some chilies here. If you like it spicy, like I do, I added some green serranos. You don't have to, you can completely opt it out, add some dry red chilies or no chilies at all. Our next ingredient here is curry leaves. Curry leaves I add in 2 stages. One in the beginning, straight in the oil. That just perfumes the oil, just has this fabulous aroma. And then I'm gonna add some towards the end so that we do save some of its nutritional value. I have some ginger right here. And the next ingredient is turmeric. Turmeric, again, we want to cook the turmeric. I think the most common mistake people do while using turmeric is they add towards the end. You don't want to add towards the end. You want to add in the beginning. You want this to cook for at least 10 to 15 minutes to get the right flavor, to activate, what is the word? Curcumin, the main ingredient, the antioxidant in there. So make sure you add your turmeric in the beginning of the cooking process. Let it cook for good 10 to 15 minutes. Then the next ingredient here is asafoetida. This is again optional. We add this because this is great for digestion. And that's it. And I have some lemon zest here, some lime or lemon, whatever you prefer, and some cilantro.
Kamal, I love that you point out what powerhouses those spices are for health. Turmeric is I'm biased. Turmeric is my favorite, but yeah, that curcumin, like people just put that in pill form, right? And
exactly, yeah.
It's so good.
Even if you want to use the fresh turmeric, that's absolutely fine. Just grate it like how I grated ginger over here and just throw it in the beginning of the cooking process. Cook it for good 10-15 minutes in a medium heat and it's good to go. All right, so we're gonna start with our nuts, our grains, some mustard seeds. My oil
beautiful cashews in the narrative box.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
any kind of nuts would work. I love pine nuts too. Sometimes I'll do peanuts, cashews, pine nuts, whatever rocks your boat. Okay, so it just in a low to medium heat, let it cook slowly. This is the most time consuming process while making this rice. Once this is done, everything is pretty fast. Okay, we want a nice light brown to medium brown color. You can hear them starting to sizzle now. Eventually the mustard seeds will start cracking. That's when you know it's ready to go.
I just put in the chat, folks, if anyone has questions, please put them there. Or I'm very curious if people have made dishes. Ashley said she made the tadig, so we'll be excited to see the drawing and maybe hear about her process.
Excellent. Another thing, guys, this recipe is not just restricted to rice. You can use pretty much anything your heart desires. Like for lunch today, I made the same thing with carrots. This is just shredded carrots. Same thing here with carrots instead of rice. Coleslaw is another great stir fry. Same ingredients with coleslaw, tastes really good. You can have it warm, you can have it cold. Cauliflower rice. Okay, now I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so good right now. It's almost light, medium brownish. I'm gonna start adding.
I'm waiting for that scratch and
ingredients.
sniff Zoom. I think it's version 10 or something, or maybe only on 3. I don't know. We're getting there. Humans have to evolve a little bit more before we get the scratch and sniff Zoom.
All right, rest of the ingredients. Little firecracker action happening here. Some hing, turmeric. I'm gonna add turmeric. I'm not gonna cook this too much. I'm gonna put the rice right in there. Stir it gently. You'll see a big difference in the color when you add it directly, when you add turmeric directly in the oil versus putting it right now, it won't be as vibrant. So you want to add it in a medium hot oil. There you go.
I dive for that color. I love it.
Right? You can go as dark or as light you like. There's absolutely no right proportion of ingredients here except for salt. Maybe you can play around with whatever you like, however your taste desires. My rice already has some salt in it, so I'm not adding salt, but this would be a good time to add some salt to it. And yep, gonna turn the heat off. Always turn the heat off before adding cilantro or lime. So this is when I add some of my lime zest, my fresh curry leaves here. Curry leaves is a very, very good blood purifier. It helps you lose weight, cleans blood purifier. It's a great immunity booster. Squeeze some lime. Again, guys, make sure it's off the heat. Sometimes the lime might taste a little bitter if you add it with the heat on or a high heat, just because we are adding so much of it.
So bright. This dish really screams brightness. Kamal, we're going to move to, oh,
it's ready.
you timed that perfectly.
There you go. That's our ready rice. And
So we're all coming over to your house now, right?
please come on over.
Thank you, Kamal. Was there anything
Thank
else
you,
you wanted to say in
guys.
closing?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Kamal, you're a delight. You're absolutely wonderful. Okay, so friends, the next chef is kind of Cecilia Leung, who is magic. She really is. You might know her if you're in Los Angeles from Lincoln, from Little Flower. She co-wrote the cookbook for Little Flower, was one of the chefs there for a long time. She's been consulting at Proof Bakery. Again, if you're in SoCal, you know Proof. She's just taken a job with Cook Unity, and Cecilia, I've got your back, honey. This girl is hiring. If you're in food and you want to do operations or be a line cook, she needs you. Reach out to me. We'll connect you to Cecilia. She's so in over her head. She couldn't be here with us in person. Yes, we're getting the love Cecilia's in the chat. I know we do too. She couldn't be here to present in person, but we've got a great proxy. Ashley Leon is joining us now and hopefully turning on her camera. And she is the illustrator who brought this whole visual presence to our entire project and really kind of hit these drawings out of the ballpark. She illustrated the whole recipe packet. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
Thanks for being here and talking about Cecilia's dish, which is the glutinous rice dish that you illustrated, and also about your practice in illustrating food in general and the Silk Road recipes.
Cool.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of this.
Yeah. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Ashley Leon. I am a food illustrator, so I'm pretty much hungry all the time because I'm constantly looking at food, which is like the most fun you could ever have. I cook as well. I've been making recipes and cooking, my whole adult life. So it's actually really fun to draw food because, I know what the textures are for so many of these ingredients, and I get to bring them to life in these drawings. For a long time, I was a traditional abstract painter, and now I'm transitioned into food drawing. So it's been really thrilling.
Do you want to show us some images while we chat a bit about this? Yeah, let's see some stuff.
Totally. So I'll share my screen.
Perfect. Yeah, go ahead and put that up. And then what I would love to ask you first, this is the set of images from the Silk Road that we're working with. And you also illustrated the dye kit for the turmeric dye kit. And we also created a haposome, basically a botanical printing set of instructions for using the food waste. And Kiana Tusi is our very, very talented designer who partnered with you to create all of these materials. And Kiana's not with us today, but the two of you just kicked butt.
I love what you did with them.
It's incredible. So maybe you can show us the glutinous rice images and tell us a little bit about how when I look at these, I feel like you channeled the soul of this dish. Like I can see through to the soul of the glutinous rice. How'd you do that?
Thank you. I really appreciate, I love hearing stuff like that. It makes me so happy because when I'm making these drawings, I am literally trying to taste them while I draw it. And I definitely, color is a huge part of what I do. I think food and natural and raw food ingredients are just gems of this world. They're the most, sometimes I can't believe how beautiful they are. So I'm constantly trying to bring that color out into these images and capturing the texture, this dish, it took me forever simply because I had to keep getting up and getting snacks. And I just I couldn't sit still. And a lot of them were rice snacks, different rice dishes. But yeah, I don't know. The shine off of some of the pieces, on the rice and the glimmer on the meat. I think that's something that we recognize when we look at a dish, and it's typically those elements that make our mouth water and make us want to dig into that dish, and then hopefully learn how to make it and continue to enjoy it. But that's kind of where I'm coming from with stuff like this.
Can you show us the onions and the eggs as well, please? And maybe talk about color, because as I understand that's part of how you really express what's happening in the dish is by thinking about color composition.
Yeah, color is I'm always amazed at the color that I find in food. In the egg, can you see my cursor at all? My
Yes,
mouse moving? Okay.
Yes.
So there's like this area where it's like, it's violet. Like when I saw that, I was really amazed to find purple inside of an egg. I also found that in the cabbage dish, if you don't mind me showing this too. This was a
Great.
lot like, I mean, there's like rainbows inside the cabbage. I mean, you got the purple here and the turquoise here and the green and brown. And the same thing kind of happened in the egg. And it was just, these soft tones that it just felt really elegant and sweet and like calming. I don't know, there was just something so soft about it. This egg felt it was one of the most meditative drawings I think I've ever done. I felt lost in it. Like the time flew by and I remember just thinking like, where was I just now? Like, who drew this? And then kind of a similar experience with the onion. It's so much more colorful and vibrant. So yeah, but these are the two ingredients. If I wanted to be able to do this for each of the recipes, have two like signature ingredients that were in the list of ingredients in the recipe and like highlight there. Yeah,
Side
there
by
you
side.
go.
These
Lovely
came in the
green
box. I was like,
onions.
there they are.
Right? So pretty. But I wanted to do that for all the dishes, like I got to do the rose petals. I love this dish.
Please show us a couple other images. Yeah, so this is Farrell's dish, which Farrell is speaking in just a moment, actually.
So pretty. And I saw the Instagram post that you put up of her display. So beautiful. I wish I would have drawn it with a swirl on this one. So here's the gallo pinto. This was really fun to draw. And then another aspect of the colors, it's like the rice is brown. I wanted the greens to pop and the red peppers. They like all kind of dance together. And then the choice of the bowls for all of these dishes, it was, I had to choose really wisely to make sure that the bowls weren't going to take away from the dish, but we're going to complement it, but while making like everything, all the dishes elevate like the ingredients. So the tadig was really, really fun to draw. At first I was like, should the stripes be blue to allow the reds to speak for themselves? But the red just really made sense, especially because of Prisa, who is the chef. I mean, you look on her Instagram, on either one of them, her cooking one or her illustration one, I mean, she's so colorful. And I actually wish I could have gotten to know every chef to kind of model each dish from them, their personalities.
Amazing.
Yeah, like this lemon rice dish. I don't even know what to say. These were just so much fun to draw.
You did it.
Is just so much fun. There's the lemons. Let's see. I'll just scroll through for
Yeah,
you.
we're gonna need to go to Farrell in just a moment, but please scroll through a few more images.
Totally. First. So this is Lena's carrots, the stuffed carrots. And then this is the rice pudding. This is a stuffed onion. Oh, and this is for the turmeric dye kit. So
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for joining. And if you have questions or comments for Ashley, put them in the chat. Things you want to see her illustrate, put them in there. We'll come to that in a moment. Okay, great.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. I see that our last chef is in the Zoom. Great, Michelle. I'm just gonna say hello to you. Welcome, Michelle Lainez. Again, with the talented humans, Parisa has to switch to a Zoom where she is speaking as an older person in her community. Oh, that came out the wrong way. But she's speaking as a queer elder at 3:30. I think they couched it that way. She's speaking as a queer elder. So I'm so proud of her. And Michelle is joining us from a leadership institute she just got into. So we're just juggling all the skilled people. Ferial skilled human. Hello, Ferial. Ferial. These intros like slay me. I get so excited. Ferial, who I'm calling Chef Ferial because I don't want to mess up her last name and she can give it herself better than I can. Ferial is an artist and architect designing beautiful homes and spaces in Los Angeles. I'm at her home right now in her garden, and it's like I can't talk to her when I come here because I'm melting at all the design elements and the choices of all the furniture here. She also, in the last few years, she now co-owns the Kuyama Buckhorn, which is a resort up in New Kuyama. It's goddamn beautiful. It is so beautiful. They've created this whole food program for their restaurant. Not only that, but they've completely embedded in this rural community. So not only are they creating these beautiful experiences in their business, and it's amazing to visit there, but they truly are a part of the fabric of that neighborhood and uplifting the community there. So you wow me. Take it away.
Well, thank you. Always, you're the best introductory person. It's great. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Very also again, as Tina said, I'm an architect and just always have the passion for food, but somehow the last few years of my life combined the two, and it's been wonderful. So the dish I've made, and we went over it because being Persian, there's a lot of dishes and you right away go for Tadic, and we had Parisa, which was making the beautiful dish. So I made it's called, it's a rice pudding. It's a Persian rice pudding. It's kind of a comfort food, easily put together. You just need milk, everything else is at home. But it's something that I actually kind of forget to make. It's something my mom used to make then. Lina, can you put the PDF up?
Yeah, let me share my screen.
So
I have it here somewhere, just have to find it. Go ahead.
Where you can see, so I made, you guys have all seen the picture and the beautiful drawings that Ashley has done. But yeah, this is what I made today. So just wanted everybody to see the ingredients. So on the left, it's the actual bowl done. I use, so everybody has a recipe. It's basically, it's just rice, it's milk, and it's cardamom, green cardamom. It's also rose water, whether you use it as a liquid rose water that you can buy store, and we'll go, I want to actually share a little bit of a history of that with you, or you can actually buy it in rose petals thing. For the sweetness, people completely use different things. The one I really like is grape molasses, or you can use a date molasses, or you can just use sugar. And for the just decorating it, as always on every Persian dish, there's pistachios. So pistachios thing. What I wanted to share with you is just the rice is in Iran, apparently right now we do about 3 million tons of rice, which interestingly, most of it kind of stays in Iran and is used. It is a daily meal with every part of it. And it's just a beautiful process. It's from the area closer, it's from the closer to the Caspian Sea. Lina, if you can move to the next few pictures.
Sure, and someone's just asking where to buy the rose water, please.
Anywhere kind of, first of all, Amazon has it. Not that ordering from Amazon would be the recommended thing. Try to stay away from it. But
I've seen it at most Middle Eastern markets in Los Angeles, and
anywhere in Westwood, there would be tons and tons of it. All Persian stores on Westwood Boulevard will have it. And I can share.
We want the brand. This person wants the brand. Yours.
It's let me go bring it.
Oh no, it's okay. We'll figure it out after. I promise. Go ahead. You can put in the chat when it's not your turn.
Absolutely. So it's beautiful, and as much as Iran is known for being the desert, it has all different kind of weather, and the northern Iran is absolutely green. And Lina, you can just go through the pictures. I believe there are 4. And still a lot of it is being done by hand. There is a commune and they do a lot of it with machinery, obviously, with the mount. And there are stores actually northern Tehran that they actually just sell rice, just different. It's all a long grain rice.
Is Robin Coda still here? This is interesting. Compare notes on the different ways it's grown. Yeah.
I'm sure there's says, and it's long grain. It's just such a hard process, and it's amazing thing. But kind of most of it is with rice. The other part I wanted to show you was the rose water. The rose water, it comes, it's actually distilled water that comes from roses, in damask roses, and it's in a certain area of Iran. It's called Kashan, and a certain town called Sar. And they do have a festival. I was lucky enough to be able to attend one. And it's absolutely just beautiful. So what they do is just tons and tons of flowers everywhere, and they take it and they distill it. And it's distilled with water. So it's between just water and you've seen, I'm sure everybody has tried, I hope, the results of it. But
so it's a still, like you would make alcohol from a still. It's the same equipment.
Exactly, and I think I have one more picture that shows the way it's done. So it's those big pots.
Wow.
And then it comes and goes into pot, and then they bottle that. We use it for many things, from rice to big thing, but especially for this dish, it's just 2 pots of cardamom, a little bit of rose water at the end to keep the taste, and basically that's it. Right.
Incredible. Thank you, Fariel. Yeah, get my screen back. Yeah, that's an amazing process to see. Thank you. I'm going to welcome our last chef, and then we're going to have some question and answer. And finally, the video from the DAF has come through, so we'll be able to see that as well, the drumming. Michelle Lainez, welcome. Thank you for being here. Michelle is a chef. She has worked at several very important Los Angeles restaurants, but she has currently her own catering company. She specializes in zero waste. She's a really brilliant educator. I pretty much call her, like, every time I have an education related food thing, I'm like, yo, Michelle, I need you again. She's really great at working with folks and explaining processes and ingredients. And she has Salvadoran heritage. Please, hello, welcome, talk to us.
Fariel, that was beautiful, by the way. So cool. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of this Silk Road. It's been a really wonderful process. And rice, let me tell you, growing up, it was rice at every meal and always a pot, and leftover rice got turned into arroz con leche, which means rice and milk, literally. But you know, if you want to try to make this at home, it's super easy. You know, growing up here in the States, and in comparison to like being in El Salvador, you know, for vacations and visiting family, you just see the disparities, you know, of like, you know, what it's available in, you know, your country, and then what's available here where you live. And it's very simple arroz con leche, but it's very delicious and comforting. It's like a hug. And it just takes a little bit of time and patience. But I have some going in the back here. Welcome to my home. It's my 1950s stove. I won't trade it for the world.
Cool.
I'm just gonna stick this up because you can't really see, but here is my pot. I've had this going for a little bit, and it's just long grain rice with cinnamon and whole milk. And I use cinnamon sticks instead of powder. And what the cinnamon stick does, it just really infuses the rice. And tip, not a lot of people will tell you, first, when you cook your rice with water, add the cinnamon at that point. So don't add it at the end, don't add it when you add in the milk. If you cook in the cinnamon in the beginning when you add the water, it really infuses it. Rice is dry, so anything you put in the beginning, when you're rehydrating it, it will absorb all of that goodness. So if you want to add that cinnamon or the cardamom pod, or even orange zest because you want to be super fancy, you know, add it in the beginning when you add in your water, and the rice grain itself will really take on those flavors before you even add any sugar or anything else. you'll be able to taste the rice and really get those floral notes, really get those cinnamony notes, and enjoy it. And we eat it hot. You know, a lot of cultures eat their arroz con leche or rice pudding cold. We eat it hot, kind of like a sweet porridge. I myself like to let it overcook. And I'm just gonna lift this up. You probably can't see it. Hold on.
Yeah, but I can see that there are grains there and that it's porridge-like.
See how it's really puffy and like porridge-like? Like I like it that way. And also, if you've never had smoked milk, let the bottom of your pot scald just a tiny bit, and it'll really add this nice woody flavor to it that you can't get over a gas stove. You know, a lot of times rice is cooked in our country in wood ovens. We bake the rice in a wood oven and it kind of takes that wooden smoke flavor. And you kind of miss that. But if you let it scald just a little, not burn, but just a little, you'll kind of mimic that. And it's really lovely. Also being, you know, zero waste. And what are you going to do with cold pudding, cold rice pudding? Because we eat it warm. This is what it looks like cold. It's really stiff, like literally, like it's not coming off the bowl. It's super stiff, right? And hard. I've made this really nice fluffy whipped cream, and it's just nice whipped cream with a little bit of sugar. And I'm just taking like a spoonful here and folding it into the rice pudding. And it just kind of, it makes it like a cloud, and it kind of makes it like an ice cream. It has that rich velvety thing that when you bite into like a gelato or an ice cream, it just like fills all the taste buds, and it's cold and fluffy all at the same time. So if you look at it here, I mean, white on white, is that the worst or what?
I can see it. I can see it.
It's kind of fluffy.
I can smell it actually. I don't know if you guys can smell it, but I'm a little more evolved than your average person, so I can.
Smell-o-vision, here we go. But when you fold in the whipped cream just a little bit, maybe like a spoonful or two, it just kind of makes it really like fluffy and creamy, and it gives you that flavor, that kind of like ice cream flavor, you know, that ice cream feel.
Burnt milk ice cream. Burnt milk ice cream.
Yes, it's amazing. But you know, also, you know, in our country, a lot of homes, my grandma's home, for example, did not have a freezer. That was not a thing. So making the whipped cream and folding it into like cold rice pudding gave us that feeling of ice cream, you know, when we couldn't have ice cream because we couldn't go into town. But yeah, I mean, arroz con leche, I just kind of grew up with it and I really love it. And I really feel like every time I make a pot of it, it reminds me of all my ancestors. And, you know, just to think like we've been eating this for generations, like grandmas on grandmas on grandmas on grandmas have just been making this. And in this one dish, you know, there's something we can all share, whether they're gone or they're here, but this is something that we can share through time. And I just find that very magical, and it just makes me happy. So I was really thrilled and happy to be able to share that with you, and honored to have you know, the ability to put the recipe in and share my family with you. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Michelle. And that was a perfect lead to kind of tie up the through line for all of us in our own little Brady Bunch squares. But I really do marvel at how all of our families, no matter where you're from, can connect to certain important staples and foods like rice. And by God, look at this whole palette of different things that different cultures and geographies have done with this ingredient. Does anyone have anything to ask or say who wasn't a presenter? I'm gonna give you a good pregnant pause. You can either just jump in or put something in the chat. I heard a voice, Massa.
So someone was asking, Ashley, what kind of tools do you use for your art?
Oh my God, I forgot to ask her that. Thank you, people. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really simple. I use my iPad. I have an iPad Pro. I started with an iPad mini and realized how dedicated I was to it that I, moved up. iPad Pro, and then I use my Apple Pencil. I have a nice little wooden grip here so I don't get carpal tunnel. And I have a drafting table. So that's really all I do. Procreate is my main program. And at the beginning you saw kind of like the layout. But yeah, that's what I do. I have tons of brushes on Procreate, and I have probably like 500 brushes, but I really only use like 4. So
the brushes are different shapes. Is that what that is?
There are different shapes or different textures. You can get like watercolor brushes, oil brushes that are meant to like kind of mimic impasto, like the high texture of the crowns of the like oil paint that rises. There's like charcoal brushes, there's stamps, which I went a little crazy on stamps that I don't need, like hearts and trees. But yeah, I typically use a 6B pencil, a fill brush, regular pencil, and then the smudging tool. So like, I don't know if you can see these. So those are all the brushes.
Kind of. There you go. There you go. Yeah. And they look like different eyebrows.
Yeah, they do.
Ashley. Yeah, that was a great question. I spaced on that. Other questions or comments for chefs, even between chefs? Going once. You're gonna be sorry. You're gonna be sorry. All right, people. In that case, what I'm going to do is Puya. Thank you for your patience. It took us almost 90 minutes for your video to travel through the fiber optic cables from your side of Los Angeles to my side. It's like it's 1985. It's like we're dealing with mimeographs or something here, people. But we have a video of Puya playing the DAF. Come on, QuickTime. I'm gonna share my screen. So again, Puya, thank you for being here.
Of course, my pleasure. If the sound is not good, I'm sorry. We have a problem with like a sound system and stuff, but I hope you guys enjoy it. My pleasure.
It's not Zoom without a technological crash. And Masa, thank you for being here, Ashka. Masa, please, can you again put Puya's Instagram handle in the chat, and I'll go ahead and share my screen and we'll get to enjoy this music. Can you guys sound?
No.
Okay, pause. Lena needs to enable the sound, which she can do. She just needs to do technology. Preferences. Thank you for bearing with this narration. Share sound. All right, help a girl out. Where's the how do I make it share the sound with you people? Let's try this.
I think you have to unscreen share, and then when you start screen share, it's going to ask you if you are able to share sound or something, and you can click that.
Sorry, guys. Why wouldn't Zoom just assume that you want to share this? Why would I not want to share this?
Enable something.
Ferial, do you know the trick? Preferences. Audio.
Select share sound in the bottom left corner.
Wait, I'm just screen sharing. Share sound. Burial for the win. Who's not surprised? Definitely not me. Alrighty, people. Can I get thumbs up, down, Puya? Oh my word. Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure, my pleasure.
Thank you. See how the universe has a way? I'm so glad we closed with that. I really just want to meet all of y'all in the club and dance to some drumming with Puya like any day
I'm
now.
down,
Come on.
I'm down, sure. You know,
Get
like
that
the sound system, you know,
vaccination.
my laptop, it doesn't get like that too much bass. You know, my instrument have too much bass, and always in the studio we have a problem actually with that. So definitely the microphone from my laptop doesn't take that. So
It's
sorry
better in
about that.
person.
If
It
it's
was
not the
pretty.
clean sound, but my pleasure, anytime.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and for us connecting. That was even better than Zoom smell-o-vision. We can at least use our ears. Okay, people. Thanks for being here. See you in the club.
Thank you. What's up?